43 years ago, Voyager 2 was launched and began its interstellar mission across the stars. Since then, it has become one of the greatest feats of human engineering, the only spacecraft to study all 4 of the solar system's giant planets, and the second spacecraft to reach interstellar space. But what else did Voyager 2 discover on its adventures through the solar system? Welcome to the Daily Galactic. Today we're going to be answering that very question and learning about the revolutionary discoveries that this wonderful spacecraft has made. Original plans for a grand tour of the solar system via 4 complex spacecraft were scrapped in favour of the 2 Voyager probes, mainly due to the budget of such a mission. Designed with the focus of using a rare planetary alignment to study the outer planets of our solar system, Voyager 2 targeted Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, and was also designed to find and study the very edge of our solar system. On the 20th of August 1977, Voyager 2 launched from Cape Canaveral, about 2 weeks before its twin Voyager 1. Although it launched before Voyager 1, Voyager 1 still got to Jupiter first, as Voyager 2 was launched into a longer and more circular trajectory. Eventually it reached Jupiter in 1979, 2 years after its launch. By this time, Voyager 1 had already been there for 4 months, so Voyager 2 was able to take extremely valuable comparison shots of the gas giant and its incredible moons. During its inbound journey to the planet, Voyager 2 flew closely by Callisto, Europa and Amalthea, and flew only 38,000 miles past Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system. At Voyager 2's closest approach of the gas giant Jupiter, it reached 350,000 miles of the planet's cloud tops. During this flyby, Voyager 2 made the astonishing discovery that the Great Red Spot on Jupiter was actually a complex storm, and also took images of several smaller storms scattered throughout the planet. On its outbound journey, Voyager 2 conducted a 10-hour study of the volcanic moon of Io. At the time, the moon was of high interest to astronomers, wanting to confirm the existence of volcanic activity on the moon. Voyager 2 confirmed Voyager 1's findings that it did in fact harbour active volcanoes. High-resolution images of the icy moon Europa were also taken for the first time. Extensive irregular markings were discovered all across the surface, which were theorized to indicate a frozen crust floating on top of a deep ocean. Voyager 2 also confirmed Voyager 1's discovery of Jupiter's faint ring system. Backlit by the sun as Voyager left the planet, a thin ring system was revealed, and just further out from the ring system, a new moon named Adrastea was discovered. During Voyager 2's time at Jupiter, over 17,000 images of the planets and its moons were taken. Another 2 years later and Voyager 2 reached Saturn, making it the 3rd spacecraft ever to do so. Many beautiful images of the ring planet were taken as the spacecraft swooped in with only 2,600 miles of Saturn. While studying the moons of Saturn, Voyager 2 gathered evidence that the small icy moon of Enceladus was geologically active. This was confirmed in 2005 by the Cassini spacecraft, which spent a lot of time studying Enceladus. Both of the Voyagers also studied the turbulent atmosphere of Saturn in great detail. One of Voyager 2's main discoveries was of a massive hexagonal vortex at the south pole of Saturn. This hexagonal storm is actually still there today. Saturn's iconic rings were one of the objects that astronomers wanted to study the most. They were expected to be flat and plain, but Voyager 2 revealed that they were far from expectations. Similar to the grooves on a vinyl record, there were hundreds of concentric rings that circled Saturn. Some featured waves along their edges, some had braided features, and some even had spiral structures within. Tiny moonlets were also discovered as they shaped the nearby rings, clearing material along their orbit. Voyager 2 also attempted to study the Earth-like moon of Titan, however it wasn't able to peer through the moon's thick atmosphere. The mystery of what lay beneath Titan's thick haze was one of the primary reasons the Cassini-Huygens spacecraft was sent to the Saturn system many years later. Almost 4 years after its encounter with Saturn, Voyager 2 reached the isolated system of Uranus. This was the first time that the ice giant had been seen close up in human history. At its time studying the planet, Voyager 2 discovered an astonishing 11 new moons, all of which were named after characters from Shakespeare's literature. Its closest orbit came within 50,000 miles of its cloud tops, and it was able to take some beautiful images of the planet. When imaging the moon Miranda, it was revealed that it experienced periods of heating from the gravitational pulls of the other Uranian moons. Astronomers also discovered that Uranus's magnetic field is tilted, meaning that its poles are actually closer to the equator, unlike Earth, where the magnetic pole and the rotational poles are almost aligned. Voyager 2 also discovered that Uranus also features a faint ring system and detected temperatures as low as -353 degrees Fahrenheit, making Uranus the coldest planet in the solar system. Another 4 years later, and Voyager 2 arrives at the furthest planet in the solar system, Neptune. Just like Uranus, Voyager 2 was the first and only spacecraft to have ever visited the ice giant, and also the first time we saw the beautiful planet close up. 6 new moons were discovered and imaged, all named after Greek and Roman mythical characters with ties to Neptune. The very first images of Neptune's ring systems were taken, and a huge counterclockwise rotating storm in Neptune's southern hemisphere was discovered and given the name the Great Dark Spot. The cold and fractured world of Triton, Neptune's biggest moon, was imaged, revealing extremely rough terrain and geysers erupting from pinkish nitrogen ice formed on the moon's south polar cap. Triton is also one of the most interesting moons in the solar system, as it's believed to be a captured object from the Kuiper Belt due to its retrograde orbit. It's the only large moon in our solar system that orbits the opposite direction of its planet's rotation. If you'd like to see me make a video dedicated to the mysterious world of Triton, let me know in the comments below and I'll be sure to do it. After Voyager 2's encounter with Neptune, its grand tour of the giant planets in our solar system was complete, and it set its eyes on leaving the solar system. Not long after it left Neptune, Voyager 2's main cameras turned off to focus the remaining power of the spacecraft on the instruments used to study the solar wind and the interstellar medium. In 2007, around 17 years after its encounter with Neptune, Voyager 2 crossed the bow shock of the solar system and entered the heliosheath, the outer layer of the bubble that the Sun blows around itself and the planets. In 2012, Voyager 2 became NASA's longest operating mission, and eventually in late 2018, Voyager 2 finally reached interstellar space. It has now left the protective bubble of particles and magnetic fields created by the Sun, and now drifts on its own through space. As of April 2021, Voyager 2 is nearly 12 billion miles from Earth and travelling at rapid speeds of 34,000 miles per hour or 54 kilometers per hour. It still continues to send us valuable data about the outer reaches of our solar system and the mysteries that lie within interstellar space, and will continue to do so for at least another 5 years until its plutonium batteries eventually die out. So there you have it, everything you need to know about Voyager 2's discoveries on its grand tour of the solar system. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you didn't know, I actually have a merch shop where you can get your own amazing hoodies, t-shirts, stickers and even phone cases, so I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check them out and support the channel. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe to catch my next video next week. See you soon.